So remember when you were a kid and you spent your entire summer outside? I remember your parents were saying, just come back when the lights come on, you know?
Basically, they just kind of
Ride your
shoved you out the
bike,
door.
hang out, yeah.
Go outside, enjoy. I still like to do that, right? As an adult, you want to go outside. It's not the case nowadays, though, unfortunately. So did you know the average child on a device, you ready for this? 53 hours a week.
More than a full-time job.
What are we going to do about it?
Dr. Laura Saunders is joining us now with some advice. And I should let our audience know, Dr. Laura Saunders is not just smart, she is the mother of a teenager, of two teenagers. So you know, you've been there. This is tough. I mean, you don't want the battles, but what do you do to get them so they're not so addicted?
Hello, friends, and happy Wednesday.
Hi, happy Wednesday.
So here's the thing. Yes, remember the days when like you got a game of kickball together, or you built a fort outside, or you just ran around, right? So we have kids that not just a full-time job, but a full-time job plus overtime on electronic devices. So we need to get them outside. So we need to create some rules, and I'm going to give you some guidelines, figure out which one works best for your family. Create media-free zones. So meal times, family times, all media, all electronics are away. Number 2, set a limit on the number of hours, right? Just because you might have, 18 waking hours in the day, well, 20 if you're an adult. If we still need to set a limit on the number of hours. So it's not like 10 hours on a device, you get chunks of time. Try a coupon system, right? For every 2 hours of playing outside, you can have 30 minutes of device-free time without being kind of bothered by your parent. But you have to start to find some ways to set limits.
So how do we get the kids to comply so you're not battling all the time? Is there something you could say, perhaps they're listening, about why this really isn't good for them or their brains either?
It causes our brains to literally, like over time, fry, because it dulls imagination, it dulls creativity, and it dulls problem solving, right? You might have a good fast twitch, like your hands can really move, but it's not allowing your brain to be creative and imagine things. And that's really the most beautiful toy in the world, is your brain for most children. Let them get outside. It's beautiful. Let them use their imagination, create things, do things. We need to kind of step back from some of the over monitoring we've done for the last 16 months through COVID and let kids get outside.
Are we as adults setting bad examples, though, for our kids, being on devices ourselves all the time?
So when we create media-free times, we as adults need to abide by it too. We need to turn our phones off or put them away and have dinner or play a game, do a family game night, right? My brother's like a Yahtzee fanatic. Do things that create time together, but not necessarily with your devices. And parents need to be role models in that situation as well.
So sometimes kids will say, we're being creative, but we want to have our phones because we want to take pictures or we want to make a TikTok. Is that different because they're quote unquote creating, but they're using a device?
I would still say there needs to be media-free times, right? Yeah. We don't need to document. And this is like a new phenomenon, right? Thank goodness there wasn't like TikTok and other kinds of, videos when I was in college and at other times, right? We need media-free times. We need to use our brains to create memories, not just our devices to create memories. And so it's retraining, and I get it. It is hard, right? But it's sort of setting expectations at the beginning of the week. This is or do it by day if that's the only way you can do it. This is how the day looks. These are your media-free days or zones or times, and sort of set that expectation from the beginning. The more you communicate and set expectations, it might make it slightly easier.
And then just really quickly, what are the expectations if your kids are hanging out with other children who might not have the same rules when it comes to social media or devices as you do?
So that's a great question. It's hard if your child is not, is at someone else's house, or, it's hard to really sort of control what goes on. That's where you're really hoping that you can instill your values in your child as much as possible. But honestly, if they're outside and they're playing, let's leave the devices. Let's leave, it's not about using your Game Boy out in the back deck. That's not outside time to me. It's leaving your devices inside and getting outside, doing fun things, playing with friends, and using your imagination.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Dr. Laura. Great advice
Thank
as
you.
always.
Have a beautiful day.
You too.